Hello. Just recently I did a blog post called Blood and Contracts, which was about the subject of pacts and dedications. And going into a few things, I'll put the link to it below. I'm not going to go through the whole blog post here. It was giving my view on the subject of making pacts and dedications and how I view it from my own perspective. Now, a few things came up from this. At one point I was talking about, ways to anoint a dedication if you wanted to, which makes the dedication talismanic. Now, one of the ways, it's a very old way of actually anointing things, is with body fluids. It's a really old method. It's nothing new, and so there are times when people can use body fluids such as blood, semen, vaginal fluid, or even anal secretions, what have you, or saliva, to anoint something. And it does make a magical link. It makes it special for the person. It has an innate, instinctive magical quality to it. So this can be a method if you want to use this. But have a look at the blog post anyway. But one person objected to this, saying you should be really careful with this. Because using such things could be very, very offensive to certain entities. Now, what I wanted to say on this was that I'm not suggesting you should make any kind of a pact or a dedication to an entity that you're not in a relationship with already. If you have a relationship with an entity, you should be able to feel your way as to what feels appropriate, and you should be in communication. I'm not suggesting you should make a pact with something that's completely unknown to you, that you don't feel like you have a relationship with. So this isn't like doing a cold calling on on entities and saying, hey, here, look, have this. No, you feel your way to things. You should be already making devotions. You should be in some sort of communication already to make a dedication. In a sense, it does come on to another point for me, which is that I do feel we are maybe over-influenced by rather cold mechanical senses of how we will contact demons and how we will call upon them, or what have you. I don't think as theistic Satanists we work in this way. This is more of an old medieval and Christian era method, which is, I think, something we've picked up on. And of course, people learn things from the internet. They learn things from books, and a lot of the stuff that's available does give you this impression of, well, here's the instruction book, here's the directory, do this, don't do that. I've seen the same thing in neo-paganism, where people will say, oh, this deity acts this way, this spirit acts that way, don't do that, don't do this. Look, you're making relationships, it's up to you to find out, and it's up to you to be respectful, and it's up to you to gain an understanding of what works with that entity. As a Satanist, you do this all under the auspices of Satan himself, and so I think you have to put things in this context. And you should be going through, I feel, a course of devotion, of practice, and of maintaining and loving your relationship to the infernal. Now, that's not to say that you're always going to get it right, but you know, we make relationships. We make relationships. We work on those relationships, and I think you have to take any of your practice in that context. So it's not like a cold system whereby you're going to look up the correspondences, you're going to look up the required things, you know. But by all means, you can have a look at stuff. But what you're really working on is a direct experience and a direct relationship. And so I hope that answers the question as to cautions about using body fluids. You should be respectful about everything you do, but moreover you should be loving about what you do. The infernal realm, this is like your folks in terms of what you love and what you relate to, and you know, you treat it like that. And I can assure you that using body fluids can be very powerful in terms of forging a bond, forging a link. It can be. So I wouldn't say that you should automatically do this. I'm not suggesting that anybody should do this unless they actually feel it and they intuit it, and they're going along with that. The making of a pact or a dedication requires a great deal of reflection. It requires a great deal of care, and it involves really checking in with your deeper feelings. This isn't just some technique in the head. It's something which I think is deeply personal, and so I hope that puts the subject in context. Thank you very much.